Hi lovies, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda's channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright lovelies, let's dive into this video. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I find it super interesting. I decided to bring it up here so that we all can delegate on it. Where the span-colored people, they're just coming out to now realize what black people have been telling them for a very long time. And a lot of them have, so many commentaries or stitches about this project 2025. And I was able to put up the stage. All right, lovelies.
I just started reading Project 2025. And, yeah. I have spent the last 3 or 4 hours trying to figure out how I would explain the gravity to someone that has no idea what's going on. For those of you unaware what it is, the Heritage Foundation is a conservative organization that produced a document. And that document outlines the ideas of conservative values going forward and what they plan to do to keep them around. I thought the people reporting on this were sensationalizing it, and I was horrifically wrong. People asked me for my take on it, and I promised them that I would not make a determination until I had actually seen what was in it. And I don't want you to think that this is me lobbing political shots at the other side. Project 2025 is a fascist manifesto, and I don't mean that hyperbolically. I mean that literally. It hits pretty much every tenet of fascism there is. It promotes the idea that the nation has become corrupt and needs to be fixed by returning to a time of national greatness. It weaponizes free speech by saying that we need to remove certain things to actually make free speech. In other words, free speech for me but not for thee. The demonization of marginalized groups and migrants. The obsession with national security. That the urban areas and the elite are actually dragging us down, and it's the heartland, the rural heartland, is lifting us up. The anti-feminism, the anti-equality, the belief in the social hierarchy as well as the economic hierarchy, the promotion of the nuclear family, the self-victimization that racism doesn't exist unless it's directed at white people. It's even got the anti-Semitism with the global elites and the cultural Marxism. This checks every box, period. It was that the right used to do something called crypto-fascism, meaning they hid it. They wanted it optically to look good, meaning there was a degree of deniability. You do this with things like dog whistling and gaslighting. You put hidden meanings in things instead of saying what you want to do outright. And this document basically says, fuck it, mask off, full send. We're not going to do that anymore because it's failing. And they acknowledge that in the document. The people that wrote this are fully aware that that strategy stopped working. It's not working anymore. It worked in the 70s, the 60s, the 80s. It worked through that, but it doesn't work anymore. Republicans have won one popular election since 1988, and they know they have to do something. This document is them saying, we don't have another option. Full send. And what they're advocating for is pure fascism. This is absolutely terrifying. And no matter who you have to swallow your pride and vote for in 2024, this can't happen. The fate of democracy is literally on the line.
I was not prepared for how sick I was going to feel when I did a deep dive into Project 2025. This is the blueprint Republicans want to use to transform the government in order to force every American to live by their standards. I think if even the average Republican voter understood what was in this plan, they would recoil. Today, I want to quickly go over what it is, who's behind it, what their goals are, and how they're going to make this happen. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into what exactly they're going to do. The Heritage Foundation, which is funded and led by billionaire capitalists, are the ones that authored it, and they are working with a coalition of like-minded organizations, including the Trump loyalists, the religious right, book banners, Christian nationalists, anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ, vote suppressors, and of course, anti-regulation folks. They plan to circumvent the Constitution and Congress and strip our freedoms by clearing out a huge number of people who work in the executive branch, so that's all the various agencies, and install loyalists in their place. If you're wondering why Trump and others keep meeting with Viktor Orban, the leader of Hungary, it's because he took a secular democracy and turned it into a religious fascist state. Like or comment on this video so that you see part 2 as soon as I post it. All right, now that we've talked about who's behind Project 2025, i.e. the same people who's responsible for the Supreme Court we have today, let's dig into the details. The way Project 2025 works is they go agency by agency and change all the things that they need to warp that agency to fit their worldview. In the Department of Defense section, they spend a lot of time going through all the things that they think are woke and trying to get rid of those. They also go after climate science as a reason that the military is using to identify national security threats. But here's something that should chill you to the bone. The military is having some trouble with recruiting right now. So, page 102, improve military recruiters' access to secondary schools and require the completion of the military entrance exam by all students in schools that receive federal funding. They're coming after your kids in high school for military service. Now remember, the Heritage Foundation's goal for the country is that white men are married to white women and they have lots of children. Here's how they're going to transform work to fit that. On page 582, they explicitly say that employers should be able to discriminate against workers for race, gender, religion, disability, sexual orientation, and gender identity. They want to give better healthcare benefits to women who are trying to get pregnant or want to adopt, and worse healthcare benefits to people who want birth control pills. Similarly, they want retirement benefits to be better for married people and worse for single people. And they're going to reduce the regulations so that teenagers can have really dangerous jobs. If that sounds familiar, it's because Arkansas has already done this. Like and comment for part 3.
The Republican Party's agenda for women in this upcoming 2024 election is pretty clear. They want us married to men and having their children, and that is the only thing they want for us. They don't want us to be single mothers. They don't want us to be in same-sex relationships, and they definitely do not want us to be childless. If you don't believe me, this came directly from their playbook, The Mandate for Leadership, on Project 2025's website. Let's start here. On page 13, promise number 4 says that they want to secure our God-given individual right to enjoy the blessings of liberty. They say the pursuit of the good life is found primarily in family, marriage, and children. On page 451, one of their goals for the Department of Health and Human Services is to promote stable and flourishing married families. Families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. Unfortunately, family policies and programs under President Biden's Health and Human Services are fraught with agenda items focusing on, quote, LGBTQ equity, quote, subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work, and penalizing marriage. These policies should be repealed and replaced by policies that support the formation of a stable, married, nuclear family. Working fathers are essential to the well-being and development of their children, but the United States is experiencing a crisis of fatherlessness that is ruining our children's futures. Mind you, nowhere in here in this entire document are they addressing the root cause of fatherlessness at all. At no point have they held fathers accountable for this, but I digress. In the overwhelming number of cases, fathers insulate children from physical and sexual abuse, financial difficulty, or poverty, incarceration, teen pregnancy, poor educational outcomes, high school failure, and a host of behavioral and psychological problems. By contrast, homes with non-related boyfriends present are among the most dangerous place for a child to be. HHS should prioritize married father engagement in its messaging, health, and welfare policies. So they are pushing that women stay married to the fathers of their children. At no point are they addressing domestic violence or any type of violence against the children or the mother in any way. In this section, social science reports that assess the objective outcomes for children raised in homes aside from a heterosexual intact marriage are clear. All other family forms involve higher levels of instability. The average length of same-sex marriages is half that of heterosexual marriages. Financial stress or poverty, and poor behavioral, psychological, or educational outcomes. So basically they're saying that LGBTQ parents cannot raise their children properly. In their family agenda, they state that the Secretary of Health and Human Services should profoundly state that men and women are biological realities that are crucial to the advancement of life sciences and medical care, and that married men and women are the ideal natural family structure because all children have a right to be raised by the men and women who conceive them. So if you didn't conceive the child you're raising, the Republican Party doesn't believe that you should be allowed to be their parent. Their thoughts on child support support, Congress established aid to families with dependent children in 1935 to assist single-parent families who were suffering financially from the loss of a breadwinning husband and father. Within 2 decades, however, the majority of families receiving aid were dependent because of paternal abandonment rather than death. Today, nearly a third of America's children live without a father present in the home, and a fourth of them are enrolled to receive child support. The glaring issue in child support enforcement today is a non-resident father's ability to provide full or consistent child support payments. The literature reflects this divide, as fathers have been categorized as deadbeat dads, then dead broke dads, and now disconnected dads who do not commit to the mother and child. Child support in the United States should strengthen marriage as the norm, restore broken homes, and encourage unmarried couples to commit to marriage. They also believe that home-based childcare should be prioritized over universal daycare. So, in other words, they think that the mother should stay home with the children and there should be a married father out working. I mean, we're literally going directly back to the 50s nuclear family. Concurrently, children who spend significant time in daycare experience higher rates of anxiety, depression, and neglect, as well as poor educational and developmental outcomes. Instead of providing universal daycare, funding should go to parents either to offset the cost of staying home with a child or to pay for familial in-home daycare. So, if you are married happily with children, this would be a really great situation for you where one of you could stay home with your kids and you could get paid to do so. It's most likely that the mother is going to be the one staying home with the children, because in a country where there is an inequity in pay between men and women, it is highly likely that the father is the higher income earner, and so mom will be staying home. And you cannot tell me, with how well articulated this document is, that they are not aware of that. They definitely are trying to get moms, women, to stay home with the children while dad goes out to work, just like we did in the fucking 50s. Now, it's worth noting that at no point do they discuss any plans for single mothers like me who may not have a family member who can stay home with the kids. What are we supposed to do? If you were thinking to yourself this whole time, they can't force any of us to do this, that would be a violation of our rights as American citizens, then you would be wrong. Because promise number 1 is they plan to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. It says here, it's time for policymakers to elevate family authority formation and cohesion as a top priority, and even use government power, including through the tax code, to restore the American family. Now, they've already talked about using child support as a means of restoring the American family. They've already talked about the American family being a marriage between a man and a woman, being a marriage between a man and a woman that includes children that are biologically related to that man and that woman. Where does that leave same-sex couples? Where does that leave single mothers? And where does that leave childless women? And if that wasn't enough for you, they double down here by saying, but the pro-family promises expressed in this book and central to the next conservative president's agenda must go much further than the traditional narrow definition of family issues. Every threat to family stability must be confronted. This resolve should color each of our policies. They're being pretty clear about this. They consider any family unit that is not the traditional nuclear family to be a threat to family stability, a threat. Their use of this word is intentional, because if you consider something a threat, then you're justified in using hostile force against it in order to suppress the threat. So I can guarantee that if this country elects a Republican president, they will use law enforcement and the court system to force us into compliance with their idea of what a family should look like. And if we refuse to comply, they will take our children from us. They will say that we are unfit to parent. They will say we're abusive and neglectful. They will say that we are failing to provide for them, and they will remove our children from our homes, put them into the foster care system, and then place them with other families, traumatizing them. And if you think that they're not capable of doing that, look at what they've been threatening parents of transgender children with, simply for affirming their child's identity. They've called them abusers. They've said that they're groomers. They've said that they're unfit to parent, and they have threatened to remove their kids. People are fleeing Florida with their families in order to avoid this persecution. And if you're a woman who has decided not to have children, as is your right, you can expect to experience a heavy tax burden for not having kids. This is how they will force you into having children. So whatever money you think you're saving by not having kids, you're going to see on your tax bill. That's what's going to happen.
You know what's interesting about Project 2025 is that Trump has never talked about it. You know, this man is always talking about something. He's always talking about whatever political topic is on his mind. But it's the one thing that he's never mentioned. But it's one of the biggest parts of his policy platform. And I think I have a very good and wise theory as to why he's not talking about it. And it's because he knows that the American voters, us, people, are not going to stand for Project 2025. He knows that there are wildly unpopular policy positions in that platform that if the American people found out about, they would be vehemently against. So that's why I think he hasn't talked about it, but it's incumbent upon all of us to continue talking about Project 2025, because I think it's probably the biggest threat to our democracy, our way of life, that the Republican Party has ever put forward. So let's keep talking about it and not let people forget about this horrible plan.
Why are you voting for Trump? All I ever hear is, oh, because Project 2025 is so scary. But no one can ever tell me why Project 2025 is so scary. So I'm thinking about doing a whole series on here where we literally read through Project 2025 and debunk everything. Project 2025 is literally being used by the Democrats to scare voters into voting for Biden. Or I guess just not for Trump. First thing I'll say is that this project, it's not Trump's. A lot of Democrats will scare you and tell you that this is Trump's project, and it is not. Why are you voting for Trump?
Pay attention. It's not a secret. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens. The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
That was Taraji P. Henson bringing up Project 2025 on the BET Awards, and God bless her for doing it. For a while now, it's felt like it's just been me and a handful of others talking about this. Then she did that, and Google searches for Project 2025 spiked. And now suddenly the media wants to talk about it. Do you know why they haven't really been talking about it up until this point? Do you know why Donald Trump wasn't questioned about it during the debate? The argument has been, well, it's not his policies. This is this group, the Heritage Foundation. He has his own policies. Donald Trump's policies is called Project 47. This is what will be implemented if he's reelected. No, it isn't. This is a carnival barker barking. This is Donald Trump saying what he thinks people want to hear, and also whatever he thinks makes him sound profound, like freedom cities. We're going to build new cities, freedom cities, the best cities. No, this is the ramblings of a mad king. The Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, on the other hand, is a declaration of war, and I don't say that lightly. That is not hyperbole. Don't take my word for it. Listen to Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation.
That we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. In other words, if you roll over and take it, it'll be okay. But if you have a problem with us overthrowing the government, overthrowing the country, there will be bloodshed. They're not being subtle. They're not hiding it. And a message I received the other day confirms one of my biggest concerns. I had someone I was corresponding with say, I'm not that worried about Trump being reelected because it seems like in his first term, he was largely unsuccessful in passing a lot of the terrible things that he wanted to do. And our government has checks and balances in place. Project 2025 literally exists because they realized he was largely unsuccessful during his first term. Some of the architects behind Project 2025 have literally said, we thought he was going to do more during his first term and then he didn't. And we realized it's because he doesn't know how. So we're helping him. All we have to do is tell him it's all his idea. They just go and present it and say, you have these brilliant ideas and all we did was take it and show how to do it. So you just have to do this. And a big part of what they're doing is making it so they go around those checks and balances in government. A combination of executive orders and relying on changes made by the Supreme Court. Changes like this. This decision opens up a bunch of doors that needed to be opened for them to execute a big part of Project 2025. And if you don't know that much about Project 2025, essentially, it seeks to turn America into a Christian nationalist, authoritarian police state. These are all part of its agenda. Eliminate the Department of Education. Dismantle civil rights and DEI programs. Eliminate no-fault divorce. Total ban of abortions regardless of viability or health of mother. Ban all contraceptives. They want to codify America as a Christian nation. Dismantling the FBI and Homeland Security, using the military to break up protests, forcing immigrants to be deported or held in camps, banning Muslims from entering the country, taking away the FDA, the EPA, and packing the Supreme Court with extreme far-right judges. Donald Trump already appointed 3 judges. These 2 are up for retirement. And if he wins again, they almost certainly will step down so that he replaces them with people that they approve of. Ultimately, what they want is this. And Donald Trump is just a figurehead. He's just a face. The body of the beast is MAGA. And what MAGA wants is control. Not what's in the best interest of the people at large, but what services the desires of members of their little club. They aren't patriots. They're people who have identified what they believe and may accurately be weaknesses in how our government is run, and they want to exploit them. And if this man is reelected, it is very likely that America as we know it would cease to exist. And I don't say that lightly.
I seriously love this. When a system has been built in a particular way to actually favor a group of people and not favor a particular group of people, let's just assume how the system has been built in way and sees white supremacy and all of that discrimination and every other thing in between, then these people that this system automatically favors begins to enjoy it and all the benefits of it, and they actually feel so comfortable with it without realizing that there is one thing about life, that anything that actually get to the mouth, anything that reach the mouth or the nose will eventually get to the eyes. And when it gets to the eyes, that is where oh my God, this is actually affecting me. So this Project 2025 has been an order of the day, and a lot of people are reacting to it. A lot of people have so many commentaries to give to it. People have taken their time to actually go into it, read about it, study it, and people are now digesting, to finally understand what it actually meant and what this project entails, what this project have to offer. Now, the first time I actually heard about this project 2025 was about, I think, early this year. It was just trending, people were just reading, and it was not actually a thing that was trending then, and a lot of pine-colored people were not really involved in trying to know what is happening in Project 2025. And it was as if it was black people or any other POC that were just trying to it was not something that is that is out there. People were like, okay, I think nobody or not enough people actually read or talked about it, but I have seen countless of POC or black people that sometimes came to talk about, because these pine-colored people that actually felt comfortable, they felt comfortable because in any given society or anything that has to do with changing of the economical structure or actually the societal whatever, it's actually going to favor them. So because of this, in every other aspect of maybe coming together and try to do something that actually benefits every other person or everyone generally, they don't really want to give the attention that is needed. But now everybody has actually read this Project 2025, but black, pan-colored, POC, every other person has read it, and people are beginning to understand what black people are trying to talk about. People are beginning to understand the reason or what people have been facing for a very long time, the discrimination, the everything that, being someone that looks like me actually face on a daily basis, that is just something like a norm. You face discrimination in the hospital, workplaces, and all of that. As a black person, you can pocket it in, tuck it in, swallow it, and it's just a normal way of life for black people. And now this project 2025 is finally affecting everybody. There's one thing about these rich folks, when they see that they are in a certain position in life, and other people, they are pink colors, we actually support them because they are the ones in the ruling class. So one thing leads to the other. They are still the ones in power. They are supremacy. They will have one way privilege or the other. So it does not really matter what they are actually doing there in power, because it's favoring the people that is in the upper class. Now, these people, the rich folks, are some kind of selfish people. When they see that they have used maybe their brothers and sisters and relations or whatever that looks like them to ascertain a certain power and a certain position, that is when you will realize that they actually do not care about any other person but themselves. They will now start to bring out their real identity, the person they are, without even giving a dime of what anybody have to say about it, be you black, blue, or yellow. And now this is making a lot of pan-colored people to actually come to the front line. They are talking about this because now this project 2025 is not gonna affect only some certain group of people. It's definitely affecting everyone. It's gonna affect women in general. It's gonna affect your freedom of speech. It's gonna affect your life, your personal life decision. Somebody can decide not to have anything to do with bearing a child, or having, like, there is a movement that is going on, like a lot of women do not want to give birth, like child free by choice. It's gonna affect them during, and there are a lot of both black, yellow, blue, white, and so many other people that is in that position. It's gonna affect the kind of decision you make in your life. If you decide not to give birth, you might not get some benefits. So, you cannot actually get a benefit compared to someone that gave birth. If you decided that you are a woman, you are done with the shenanigans of a man, maybe the kind of man you meet in your life, you are just done with how men have treated you, and you decide to just be on your own and become an independent person, these projects might still affect you. And this scenario does not actually involve only black people or yellow or POC people. It involves, everyone, because everyone faces any kind of life challenges that might make you have a decision not to have a life partner and want to just stay on your own. This project will also affect you. So if you see what is going on right now, this project is affecting anyone that decided that, okay, this is actually wrong, even if it has to do with your own personal thing. You will just shut up and do whatever you're asked to do without giving your opinion. Are you seeing what is happening? So this is now getting a lot of people agitated. A lot of people are coming out to talk about it. A lot of people, because it's going to affect everybody. It is not going to affect a particular set of people and leave the other. No, it's affecting every woman, every man, every personal life decision, the way you live your life. It is also going to affect Ray and Sis too. it will give room to continue being real and cis, and it's not going to be a problem. I know it's going to be harder for black people, but at least it's also going to be hard for other people. This is why everybody's like, oh my God, what is happening? Because it's not affecting everyone. It's affecting everyone. Not quite long, a bill was passed, a draft. Yeah, if you're 16 years, you are automatically sent to go to WAR. Automatically. It does not matter if you are a yellow, black, blue, or center. I staged a video of pink color people reacting to that draft. A man was he was so angry, because all of the things that is happening is beginning to affect them as well. It's not longer we are not more talking about real and cis right now. Real and cis is something that the system has already gotten used to. Now there is another thing involved. So people must react. A lot of people are coming out. People are lecturing. People are trying to It is not only black people that is suffering now. It is now affecting every other person. So a lot of people will actually come out. This is it. So the more everybody decided to come together and actually in a common goal and actually, okay, let's just forget about race and cis, treat each other equally and all of that, and fight what is fighting is better. But the thing is that when people decide to come together, black and white and all of that, to fight a common goal, and everything goes back to normal, black people will still be discriminated against. This is just how the society is. Anyways, I did not even guys, just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of these videos. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for education and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.
And if you have watched up to this extent, thank you so much for all the love and support. Why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. And I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and